Well, I just heard from Amber Lawley. I want to take this time to thank them for sponsoring our shows last week. They called and let me know that my subscribers bought a lot of their CBD lotion. I was really happy to hear that. As their way of saying thank you to my subscribers, they are now offering you this deal. For every 3 items you buy, the 3rd item will be free. That's right. So every time you buy 3 items, the 3rd item is free. Just use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and the 3rd item is free. One thing I've learned about this lotion, not only does it help with joint pain as well as muscle pain, but man, it makes your skin really smooth. So as an added bonus, not only does it help with joint and muscle pain, it also helps out with making your skin very smooth. An added bonus. So go on over there to Amber Lawley, and remember, for every 3 items you buy, the 3rd one is free when you use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y. Go check them out.
Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? All right, let's get back to Iraq. There's a couple of things of concern and a couple of things of excitement, so we'll get to that right now. Before we get started, hit the thumbs up button, because when you do, it helps us get past the algorithm that YouTube puts on us and keeps us from being shadow banned. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. The disclaimer here is I'm not a financial advisor, a lawyer, or an accountant. The information that I share with you, I do freely. It is of my own opinion. Hey, folks, just a quick reminder that back in 2008 and 9, a lot of people lost all of their retirement savings in their 401ks and IRAs because they did not own gold and silver. Yeah, that's right. Gold and silver protects you from a market crash. So do yourself a favor, protect your retirement by purchasing gold and silver. You can go to moneymetals.com, reach out to them, and they will help you set yourself up to protect you and your family from having to start all over from scratch. If you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and they will send along with your order a free ½ ounce of silver. So folks, do yourself a favor, head on over to moneymetals.com and protect you and your family from a market crash, as well as inflation. That's right, head on over to Money Metals when you want to buy gold and silver. Keep in mind, if you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free ½ ounce of silver. Hey, right now, a special offer for my audiences only. You have a chance to win 100 free American Silver Eagles. That's over $3,000 in value. And all you have to do is enter your email to win. That's it. That's right, there's no obligations to purchase. The link is down below in the description. So head on over there, enter to win. You have between now and December 31st of this year to enter. The only way you can for sure not win 100 silver American Eagles is by not entering at all. So do yourself a favor and enter your email so you have a chance to win. People keep asking me, where is the link, Pimpy? It's real simple. If you're at my page on YouTube and you're watching any of the videos, any of them, you see the video here and you scroll down, see my name right here? If you go here where it says show more and you click it, here's all the links to the things you have access to. If you want to enter into the competition to win 100 free medals, just click it right here and it'll take you to the website where you can sign up. If you want to buy and own physical gold and silver, just click this link right here and it'll take you to the Money Metals website. And if you're thinking about buying cryptocurrencies, just scroll on down and you see the word Coinbase. Click this and it'll take you over to the website that you can sign up for. So you can buy Shiba, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin. For those of you looking for my address, there it is right here. As everyone is aware of an alternative website, the link is down below in the description. Over here I post original content as well as other videos that have been banned from YouTube. It costs $3 a month to join for unlimited access, and all proceeds go to finding life's purpose. So come on over there and join us. Beware of scammers. That's right, people posing and pretending to be me. How you can tell us apart is real simple. If you post a comment and I respond, you will see a dark circle around my name. See this? It's either gray or black. I won't be sending you to WhatsApp, and I won't be sending you to Telegram or Telegraph or anything like that, nor would I be asking you for money. From time to time, I will be using material that's considered copywritten. I post this just to show that I am exercising my fair use rights. As we can clearly see, Iraq has not finalized their election results of yet. The best that I can tell of what it looks like, they're fussing about, I think, 4 seats. And I was thinking to myself, what would be the reason of fussing over the 4 seats? Don't get me wrong. I'm the same guy that says, hey, look, whatever the people voted in, that's what should be there. But I was thinking to myself, what would be the other purpose behind it? Because Maliki's pushing really hard to get these people in there. And he wants some say on how the cabinet's formed. The best that I can tell is this. Remember, Maliki's the corrupt one. He's the one backed by Iran. He's the one that inherited a surplus of money and then it disappeared. He's also the same one that sent, in my opinion, sent a message to Al-Qademi that he would not be investigated about the money, and Al-Qademi's best friend was assassinated. I think it was a clear message to Al-Qademi. We know there was a compromise that was sent. Al-Qademi couldn't investigate Maliki, but he surely could investigate his family, and that's what he did. But there's a big difference. We got Sadr going to office, and Sadr is a nationalist. He's pro-Iraqi. He's all about figuring out who all the corrupt people are and punishing them for all the crimes against the Iraqi people. Oh, yeah. So my thought is he's trying to negotiate getting specific people into specific offices so they can see exactly what Sadr's doing and report to Maliki. That's the only reason I think there's so much fuss going on. And I think Sadr knows this. So right now we see Maliki jockeying to come up with a compromise. All right, how many people would like to see Sadr let in? If not, at least which ones of his people sit at certain positions. So I'm more than positive that's what's going on. There's not enough seats that they're fighting for to make a difference in any of this. Now, that's just what I heard. But if we find out that indeed there was a machine that magically, I don't know, did something like happened here, the Dominion ones, well, then there's a problem. Again, it's just my opinion, good, bad, or ugly, that the people that should be in office, whether we support them or not, doesn't make a difference. It's whoever the Iraqi people went in. Whoever the Iraqi people want in, period. So if this election was indeed stolen from them, then that would be a major disappointment, especially if we find that out. But right now, I think it's more to the reason there's so much fuss is the fact that Maliki is crapping bricks. He definitely does not want Sadr investigating all the corrupt files and actually going to do something about it. Because the bulk of them, if I remember correctly, are related to Maliki. So, very interesting. That's what the real fuss is. The courts have not decided what they were going to do. The big issue is whether or not the entire election should be redone. Tariq, the legal expert, is saying, no, don't even go down that path. It's one thing to deal with ratifying the election. It's another to turn it over altogether. The appeals are one thing, but doing a whole new election is a totally different beast altogether. So, but you can see Maliki in the coordination framework. Yeah, of course, they're crapping bricks. The funny thing is they're all from the same batch of people, the Shiites. But Maliki and his people are backed by Iran, influenced by Iran, where Sadr is not. He's all about the Iraqi people. He is a true nationalist. So I can understand why Maliki is concerned. I can understand why he's fighting, because the truth of the matter is he might actually be fighting for his life. So we'll see. So there's still some jockeying going on, and they're going to wait, give it a little more time to finish looking into this thoroughly, because there's some people out there who are very influential and could cause some civil unrest. We already know that some rockets were launched at the U.S. Embassy, which is not what we want. We don't need that kind of hassle. We don't need ISIS building up and raising their ugly head. We don't need Al-Qaeda coming over to help ISIS try to take over Iraq. You can understand why. That would just be setting everything back. So already we're seeing these types of things happen, but I'm not so sure that it isn't Another group of people possibly making that happen. I won't mention the CIA's name by name, but I heard that this special group of people have a habit of doing these types of things whenever there's agenda that needs to be pushed, like keeping the United States there to continue to protect Iraq. We don't want that. We want their own sovereignty restored. Iraq has got to learn to fight back. If they lose that country, that is on them. Just like on Afghanistan, although we went about the approach all wrong, and just Joe Biden's an idiot. So, you can't blame the guy. He's senile and has Alzheimer's. So it's more along our military people should have just said no. But nonetheless, here we are getting ready to be in the same predicament possibly. I don't think so. I think Iraq is a lot more stronger and has a lot more allies that have a more common interest in making sure that the Middle East stays peaceful. So we got a little more time until we find out the results. We'll see what's happening. So Ms. Blassart, the United Nations, will continue its support for Iraq. Of course it will. They have a vested interest in this. They're all part of that Great Reset, so I can imagine they're wanting to make sure that Iraq doesn't fall into the hands of the wrong people or possibly right people. So we'll see. Or maybe Ms. Blassart actually cares for the people. Who knows? See, here you go. The president of the region and Maliki discussed the results of the election and ways to reach an understanding to form the new government. I'm sure Maliki's like, so I want my people to be in intelligence. I want them to be in anywhere where there's going to be an investigation. Anywhere where his people could be put in charge of the investigation. Anywhere where his people can be highly kept abreast of what's going on in these investigations. That I'm pretty sure that's what's really going on. They can try to butter this all they want. The truth of the matter is they keep saying that it doesn't make a difference about all the fussing and the in-fussing. The truth of the matter is it's whatever works best for the interest of the Iraqi people. I love that they're talking the great words, but there's a difference between talking the talk and walking the walk, especially if your neck could possibly be on the line along with other family members. Now, again, that's just my opinion, okay? The central bank reviews its development initiatives worth 15 trillion dinars. They have got to start rebuilding the private sector faster than they're doing. It's moving too slow, way too slow. We're already seeing the hit in the price per barrel, only because now there's countries starting to lock down all over again over another fake virus. So because of that, there's less oil being burnt, is what's happening. Iraq would go crazy. They would move from being in the situation they are to instantly a wealthy nation all over again if they just open up the economies everywhere. But they're not going to do that. We know they're not going to do that. Their intentions are to wipe out as much of the population as possible, getting it down to a more manageable number. As long as these government officials continue to obey the evil people, then this is the predicament we're going to be in. That until the people get tired of it and they stand up and actually do something about it. So this is where we are. The initiative is to do what they can to start launching loans out to rebuild the private sector as quickly as possible. They really need to do this a lot more quicker. So there was a workshop that was held, and it went over all the things they needed to talk about. You can see right here is the importance of coordination with public financing and providing financial support that saved the country from the major crisis caused by the complex security and health crisis. There's that going on. Again, and do what they can to get people into banking so they can push them into that digital currency, as well as making sure the private sector gets rebuilt as fast as possible. So during the workshop, the most prominent indicator achieved by the development initiatives and their positive effects, especially in the housing sector, were reviewed, as well as a number of presentations by industrial and real estate banks and the housing fund, which were followed by discussions from the audience. So they're working on doing what they need to do. The workshop was attended by a number of central bank officials, managers in government and private banks, and investors from the private sector. Yeah, they all need to get their hands into the cookie jar so you can start rebuilding the private sector, but you can't just do it willy-nilly. We've had in the past where people were starting projects, never finished them, never started them, unqualified, and the money just went to waste. We definitely don't need that again. This is one pissed off looking Tariq, the legal expert. To sum it up, it's just what I talked about earlier, and that is you can't just automatically have the entire election redone just because of a couple of seats that were appealed. There would have to be some overwhelming evidence that proves that indeed the entire election has a reason for this happening. Since they are as far along as they are, the courts cannot ask for re-election, is what he's trying to say, is his point. Okay, so whatever, like I said, whatever the results are, as long as it is the will of what the people wanted, I don't care either way. I mean, I do, but of course you get where I'm coming from. It's more about the Iraqi people. So this is interesting. The finance minister Saleh, there is no accurate figure for the size of Iraq's debt to the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. The cool thing about this is it's not as much as you would think. If you go in there, he just gave an estimation. Somewhere between 5 and 6 billion, I think is what he said. And heck, they do that. Yeah, here we go. With the interest and everything on it says does not exceed $5 to $6 billion. I mean, they could do that, like a couple of months if they really wanted to. But so they don't owe a whole lot. So their external debt is almost paid off as well. So that on top of the money that they owe to Kuwait, which is done. Legal expert, the end of the payment of Kuwait's compensation, it has nothing to do with Iraq's exit from Chapter 7. Actually, it does. So the same guy, Tariq, confirmed today, Wednesday, that the payment of the last batch of Kuwait's compensation has nothing to do with Iraq's exit from Chapter 7. Now, if you remember, I told you, they exited Chapter 7 before, but there were some stipulations in there. So technically, they weren't out of Chapter 7. Chapter 7 was lifted several years ago, 2013. And what is now ended with regards to the debt committee that was based on Chapter 7 by deducting sums from Iraq. Noting that Iraq, after exiting Chapter 7, was able, throughout the past years of buying weapons and in the process of trading in all things, and thus the completion of the payment of compensation has nothing to do with Iraq's exit from Chapter 7. We know that's not true. We know they could not buy long-range missiles. After it paid the last amount of $44 million, all compensation under Security Council Resolution 87 of 1991 ended, adding at the same time that these debts were not even applied under Chapter 7 when payments were postponed in 2014 with the entry of ISIS and a drop in oil prices. I don't agree with this because there's a lot of conflicting articles back and forth. If these people were out of Chapter 7, they definitely wouldn't have to be reporting constantly to the United Nations. The central bank had announced yesterday, Tuesday, the payment of the last batch of compensation of Kuwait amounted to $44 million, expressing the hope that the termination of payment of compensation will contribute to removing Iraq from Chapter 7. So those are the people that deal with this. So I don't know why the legal expert Tariq is saying that they were already out. We know in 2013 they were removed, but then they had a disagreement with Kuwait on compensation. So they ended up being somewhat restricted. I don't know if you can be semi-restricted. Either you're in Chapter 7 or you're not. Iraq had deposited 5% of its exports revenues from sales of oil, its products, and gas before reducing it down to 3% in 2018 in a UN fund that was established under the name of the United Nations Compensation Fund. The United Nations Committee was formed, obligating Baghdad to pay $52.4 billion in compensation for individuals, companies, government organizations, and others who incurred losses resulting directly from invasion and occupation of Kuwait. Now, there's more talk about that down here. A statement from the Iraqi Central regarding compensation of the 1991 invasion of Kuwait. We know they sent it. We know they now confirmed it. Now, here's something that we don't like, besides the fact that there's missiles being lobbed over to the U.S. Embassy. But this one right here, the Iraqi market is abandoning the dinar. That's not good. That weakens the dinar. We need to stop the $2 system over there. They stopped it before, but they need to stop it again. They need to do away with the American dollar and just force people in Iraq to stick to the dollars. That would strengthen the dinar. That's one of the things that needs to happen. And it says, and the government is reassuring there is no collapse. Well, I can understand why the people are concerned. There are collapses of dollars happening everywhere. Large traders, even retail owners, turn towards the dollar and refrain from the dinar to overcome any sharp fluctuations to similar collapses that occurred in neighboring countries and the regions such as Iran, Turkey, and Lebanon, which may cause heavy losses to them. So their dollars already dying. The dollars are dying. They want the dollars to die. I did a video early showing you what their goal was. They did these so-called mock cyber attacks in which they would have to decouple from the major currencies. These fears have prompted citizens to expedite the disposal of local currencies in their possession and replace it with US dollars, of course. While limiting sales and purchases of hard currency by some owners of companies, car showrooms, and some interests whose dealings are linked to the dollar for fear of sudden collapse of the dinar. Well, their economy is doing very good. Oil prices are still pretty high despite the drop. As long as they keep using the currency, the place stays stable. There's no civil unrest. And we start developing the private sector. The fact that they're out of Chapter 7 or getting there anyways, all these will add to strengthen the dinar. But if you really want to interfere, what they should do is reinstate the dinar to the current or the previous rate of 1,190 dinars. That would make them feel a whole lot better, that's for sure. So they're dealing with the same thing we are, monetary inflation. And so, to help curb it, what they're doing is using US dollars. Not to mention the fact that they devalue their currency. So just reinstate the old rate. You should be just fine, in my opinion. It shouldn't have that big of an effect on overall the economy. I think it's worth it to gain a confidence in the dinar to go ahead and restate the rate, in my opinion, than it is to leave the rate that it's at and then have people lose all faith in the currency altogether and then abandon it. That's what we don't want. When countries devalue their currency, people lose faith in it. Then they start looking for alternative currencies. Yeah, they need to reinstate that, at least to the 1,190. Especially when you see other countries around there, especially like the Turkish lira collapsing. I'm sure they talk about that. And the fact that their currency was devalued does not help this situation at all. So that's where they are. And this is just a long article talking mostly about what I'm saying. So in this right here, the news publishes the cabinet's decisions for today's session. Here it is, just Al-Qademi rocking and rolling, making sure that the money goes out into the right areas so they can continue to grow. I just summed it up for you there real quick. So all these are the different steps needed to help continue with infrastructure as well as different departments within the government, as well as doing what they can to rebuild the private sectors. So we don't like the missiles being launched. We don't like anything doing with ISIS. They need to get that taken care of as quickly as possible. Every time it happens, just nip it in the butt. Okay, we got the coalitions. The American forces are getting out of there. The coalitions are out of there. That's just going to leave Iraq on their own. They paid off Kuwait. That debt is done. That means more money back to the Iraqi people and their Iraqi government. We got to start doing what we can to rebuild the private sector faster because oil prices are likely to drop with these fools forcing us in this fake pandemic thing. So looking good, you guys. It's both good and bad. We need to get the election results over with and get people finalized into their office. I'm curious to see where Al-Qademi stands. In addition, I think it's important for them to reinstate the rate of 1,190 dinars. It would go a long way in helping the people have a lot more faith in their currency. And we all know that countries everywhere are dealing with inflation. But here's the thing. If their dollar is pegged to our dollar, that wouldn't be a good thing because we know we're going through some serious inflation issues. But the fact that they're swapping dinars for the US dollar makes the US dollar stronger, which we don't want that to happen. Anyways, you guys, that's it for now. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so because when you do, it helps out the channel and I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later. I'm out.